Okay, so I'm running a test of the Fujifilm X100VI versus my Leica Q. The reason for this is that I was considering trading in my Leica Q to basically pay for the X100VI. But when I posed the question to a few people, they told me that maybe I should hold on to it if I could, because I may regret letting go of such an excellent lens, which is the Summilux. So I decided to do this test to see if the difference between the Summilux and the Fujifilm 23mm are all that different. If this is the top of the line Leica lens. Even people who I guess get one of the M bodies normally, they may not necessarily have a Summilux or a Summicron lens. They may have to get settle for a Voigtlander or a dipod. So to actually have this on the Q, which is on all the Q standard, the Q lineup, is pretty fortunate. And so I wanted to run a test really to see if I really would be missing out, if the image quality is that much, like so much more superior than any other image you can get in any other camera. Leica people really love their cameras, and I mean, I get it. I've had mine for about 6 months, and to be honest, when I first got it, I was injured. I had a ruptured Achilles. There's actually a video I have on here where I was testing my Jerry Nightwalker lens, and there's a little short I created where I had my crutches, and that wasn't staged. That wasn't fake. I was really on crutches because of that injury. But anyways, that's around the time that I picked up my Leica. I wasn't expecting to get hurt, obviously. So once the camera got in, I didn't really get to use it or shoot with it over that time because I've been injured for so long. And so I've recently been able to walk again and to do it comfortably and for a longer extended periods of time. And so I can hit the streets with it. So I will say in all fairness that I haven't necessarily gotten to see the Leica used very heavily yet by me to really, get an idea of what those images would look like consistently, what I would get out of it, and to really understand that camera. I've been shooting with the Fujifilm X Pro 2 and the XE2S, and the XE2S is actually what I ended up selling to get my hands on the X100VI, and then just kind of paid off the rest myself. I'm really familiar with the Fuji, the images I get out of my Fuji cameras. I love them. I'm basically a Fuji shooter at this point now that I'm with the X100VI and the X Pro 2 and the GFX 50S. I'm basically a Fuji shooter at this point. But yeah, so with that, I was like, is it redundant to have this Leica Q? I can, change out lenses on my X Pro 2, throw on the Fuji 18mm or the Voigtlander 18mm if I want to get that 28mm look, and if I want to do that, get that 28mm field of view on my camera, so I can still have that at my disposal if I need to, so I don't have to keep the Leica. But again, I was told not to, and I just had to see for myself. So I did the test, and I'll have them on the screen here as I kind of talk. Looking between the two images, I have to say that there is a difference. There is what they call the 3D pop. I notice it in the Leica image for sure. There's a certain level of richness, a certain level of depth that is in this photo, and I can't deny that. Is it prevalent enough for me to be like, man, I could never part ways with this thing? It's just so much better than anything I've ever had. Like, look at the image next to it. Like, clearly no. Like this is obvious, right? There is no like regardless, the camera may be worth like 3 or 4 times more than the Fuji, but it is not, the quality is not 3 or 4 times it. It's slightly better. it definitely has like this look to it, this thing that just, again, it does add a level of richness and crunch, and I don't know, there does seem to be like some depth to it, just slightly more than is in an X100. I will admit to that. I won't deny that. But I also want to sit up here and exaggerate just how much of a difference it is, to the tune of thousands of dollars more. Like, no way. I'm sorry. In my personal opinion, I'm not seeing it. Not to that extent. But I will be fair and say that there is a difference. Yes, for sure. Is it objectively better? I don't know. I like it more. If I had to choose between the two. Is it, enough to where, you're willing to pay the difference between these two cameras? That I think that'd be up to a person by person case. I don't think there's an objective answer to that, because we don't make decisions solely off of like logic and utility, right? Our emotions, our hearts, the stories, our experiences, the stories of the brands, and our personal experiences with photography and what we aspire to in our work is a part of that decision making, and it should be. It should be an important part that you listen to. Don't just look at the numbers. That the numbers are cool and they're important, but they're not the only thing. They're necessary, but it's not sufficient to just look at price. In my personal opinion, it just can't come down to that. So for some people, it is worth that. For me, I'm going to go ahead and hang on to it because I do want to explore more with it to be fair in my use with it. And because I do like the look. I do like it. I do think that it is slightly better, and I do think that it is giving me something that the X100VI can't give me. It's just adding that, man, it's adding that pop. I do still feel like it's redundant for the most part. That's the bad thing about it. But the 6 will be the camera that I will generally use for most of the time. The Q is probably something I'll pull out just because I want to use a 28, or because maybe that day I just want to carry that camera instead. Or if I'm working on something to where I really think that it'd be beneficial to have that pop. But otherwise, and in case anybody else was trying to make that decision, I just wanted to give you one example of what it could look like. I tried my best to create an image that has some depth in lighting, some contrast, some color, so you can kind of see some out of focus areas too, kind of see how they crop and line up. I mean, if you're looking like between these two cameras specifically, but more so I just wanted to it's more so for image quality, not necessarily anything else, but for the quality of the image, I wanted to make sure there was enough contrast and depth and color in there for people to kind of get an idea of what these cameras are capable of. Have the side lighting going on, have the direct backlight back there with the tube light. Yeah, so I mean, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be really curious to see what you all think about the differences between these photos here, between these two cameras. I think they're both excellent. They both did an excellent job capturing my little sad Rick here on this toilet. But yeah, I'm happy with both. And I do think that the Leica does have, again, a slightly better look to it, but nothing significant, nothing dramatically superior. I would never go as far as to say that, but it is nice and it does look a little better. All right.